channel or something like that, because it was initially a gaming channel, and it is still, and it will be, because I think I just, this video just came out for me on my YouTube page just because I answered to another Armenian propaganda video yesterday in Russian. It was in Russian. It was this video. Where is it? This video. I answered to the video of Aram Kardachan regarding the history of Azerbaijan and stuff like that. But yeah, I wasn't planning to do that. I just did it because I kind of was triggered by the lies and all the misinformation and misconceptions that were present in this video. But today, as soon as I opened my YouTube page, I get this video recommended. The Philos Project or the Philos Project, I don't know, I've never seen this channel, never heard of them. So yeah, and to be honest, after watching half of this, I was triggered even more, because it is it is full of crap, and I will, this is a direct reply to this video, this is an answer. So I will link this video in the description. I don't know if anyone will see this video or not, but for me personally, it is important that besides the bullshit and the lies, in this video, the truth also should be present somewhere in the internet, and it doesn't really matter if someone sees it right now or at some other point. People will see it probably sooner or later. Yeah, of course I would like these people, if they are sincerely unbiased, if they are sincerely fighting for justice, they want justice for everyone, then I think they should know this information, and they will probably think about what they just said and think about maybe going and researching more, knowing your facts, not making up stuff just because you have some friends of a particular nation, ethnicity, and etc. But anyway, let's start watching this, and I will kind of comment on what she says and what the other her guest says, just right on the fly, because yeah, I want to get with this done with this fast, and not come back to this. So let's go.
Welcome to the Philos Project podcast. I'm your host, Dominique Hoffman, and this week I'm joined by my colleague, Simone Rizkala, to discuss how Christians can hold intention support for both the modern state of Israel and Armenia. The Philos Project and our sister organization, Save Armenia, have been educating and discussing the persecution of ancient Armenian Christians in Artsakh by Azerbaijan for the better half.
Okay, right off the bat, it is not Artsakh. There is no such thing. It is an unrecognized term. It serves as a name, used to serve as a name for an unrecognized illegally occupying state, a separatist state on the recognized territory of Azerbaijan. This region is called Karabakh. It's not Karabakh. It's not Artsakh. It's Karabakh. That's first of all. Let's go further.
Half of a year. Back in December of 2020, Azerbaijan essentially blockaded Armenian Christians in Artsakh.
Yeah, regarding this part, I will go further down the line when they will discuss this. But right now I can tell you that the Russian so-called peacekeepers were in response, they were in control of the territory of Karabakh back at that time, and they were invited by none other than Armenians themselves. So they insisted that Russian peacekeepers were there, because they were allegedly they were scared of Azerbaijanis. And by the way, when Russian peacekeepers were there, both sides, Azerbaijan and Russian peacekeepers side, confirmed that there was no blockade. Azerbaijan was sending trucks of food and everything needed for Armenians in Karabakh, they just refuse to take it. They just refuse to let them pass into the city, So yeah, this is one big bullshit. But let's go further. I'll discuss more down the line.
Which was the start of an ethnic cleansing of over 120
yeah. Regarding ethnic cleansing, we will talk about this too.
thousand ethnically Armenian Christians. Recently, Armenia has come up in the news for two reasons. First, Armenia recognized an independent Palestinian state. And second...
Yeah, this I'm not surprised because, some people like her, I consider not very committed to Israel and to Israel's cause, because she tries to justify somehow Armenia. Now she will try to justify that Armenia, they couldn't do any other way, they should have, they didn't have any other option. No, everyone every time has an option, has a choice. But to begin with, I'm not surprised, because if you don't know, and you should definitely, to this person, you should definitely go educate yourself, because in 2001, the back then president of Palestine, Yasser Arafat, he said basically what your Armenian friend is repeating throughout the video, but in our case it's true. However, in case with so anyway, long story short, he said that Palestine and Armenia are brother countries, 2 nations, 1 state. And you should check that if you don't believe me. Go educate yourself. But still, let's go.
Armenia came up in the heated debate and conversation between Piers Morgan and Candace Owens.
I don't give a fuck about those liberal pieces, whatever. I don't want to insult anyone. But anyway, I don't care about this. You should not, if you want to watch TV, then go watch TV and don't discuss politics on the internet. Go educate yourself. Or it's either or. You cannot do both. You cannot watch TV and educate yourself. So anyway, let's go further.
They discuss topics such as Israel, genocide in Gaza. And last week on the Philos Project podcast, we discussed Candace Owens and her Jewish conspiracy here in the West and why she doesn't support Israel. In that same interview with Piers Morgan, Candace Owens used Armenia as an example for why Christians can't support the modern state of Israel. How can Christians support Israel who supply arms to Azerbaijan, which end up persecuting Armenian Christians in Artsakh? This is a complicated question.
It's not a complicated question. It's not a complicated question at all. I will tell you, I could have done this further, and I will elaborate on everything I will say, but still. So first of all, this you continue to repeat this word. It's not Artsakh. There is no such thing. It is unrecognized word. It is unrecognized name of state of an illegally occupying separatist state, which is no longer around. It doesn't exist anymore. So it's not Artsakh. It's Karabakh. It was always part of Azerbaijan. It was internationally and is and always will be internationally recognized part of Azerbaijan. And everyone recognizes it as part of Azerbaijan. Even Armenia itself officially recognizes Karabakh as a part of Azerbaijan. Armenia doesn't count it as a part of Armenia. Armenia doesn't recognize it as an independent state. So just so you know.
It's one that requires a lot of nuance, and there's no one better to discuss that than Simone, who's an Egyptian Armenian.
No one better to discuss this, because she is an Egyptian Armenian, probably never stepped foot in Armenia, right? Does she even know what's up, what is going on in the region? When did she leave? When did she leave to USA? From what I see, most of the voices on the internet are of those Armenians that never have been in Armenia. They don't even really care about Armenia. They want support of the United States government. They want some, probably some social benefits for saying that we're being persecuted back in our country and etc. Just a pure manipulation. So let's not, please, if you wanted to know the truth about Armenia, you should go and find some Armenian from Yerevan, not like some Armenian from Egyptian Armenian who lived in. But we will analyze everything she says. Let's go further.
Catholic. This conversation is insightful. Again, it highlights the great nuances of this complex, both historic, religious, and geopolitical context in the region today. And I hope you enjoy the conversation.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit emotional. It's just because they are trying, and this bullshit, they are trying to put this as like emphasize on religion and put this like at the, you know, a situation where Christians are being prosecuted and stuff like that. But for some reason they forget to mention that a lot of people who fought for Azerbaijan are Christians. They have churches in Azerbaijan. There are Jews. They have synagogues in Azerbaijan, and many of them. But let's go. Again, I will elaborate further.
Simone, welcome to the Philos Project podcast. I'm so excited to have you. You're here on staff with the Philos Project. You also have your own podcast, Beyond Rome, which I'd love for you to connect the viewer to at the end of the podcast. But first and foremost, you are a Catholic Egyptian Armenian woman, and so you are the perfect authority to speak to this issue that's become salient in the news. Yes. Armenia recognized Palestine as an independent state, so that was at the top of like geopolitical news. But even more than that, in this cultural conversation, Candace Owens has talked about Armenia and the lack of international attention on Armenia, which is important to bring attention to. But for her, it seems to be part of an argument as to why Christians shouldn't support Israel. And so today we're going to tackle the extremely complex and nuanced conversation of how we as Christians, Protestants and Catholics, can hold intention support for both Israel and the Jewish people and for Christian Armenians.
So, yeah, before we get further into the topic, I want to say, first of all, Christians should definitely support Israel. Everyone basically should support Israel. And it's, in this case, there are a lot of nuances that I don't want to get into because that's not video about it. But regarding support of Israel, yeah, definitely. Christians should support Israel, and like, you know, this I don't know how to describe the you know, the size of Armenia compared to the whole world is nothing. Because of this nothing and its decisions, stupid decisions, because I will explain which stupid decisions they made throughout history and are still doing, no one should reconsider anything, you know. If in my opinion, and it doesn't only, you know, we will further get into this, because she said that Israel supports Azerbaijan only because of one reason or some stuff like that. We will talk about this too, but from now I just want to say that two countries in the world right now deserve support, most support that anyone can give. It's Israel and Ukraine. That's my personal opinion. Let's go further.
Being persecuted by Azerbaijan. So that's a heavy introduction, but I would love for you to tell the audience about your family and your connection to Armenia, and also really the story of your great-grandmother, who is the matriarch of your family.
Oh, thank you so much, Dominique. It's an honor and a privilege to be on the Philos Project podcast with you. I love this podcast. And yes, this is quite a topic and very, as you mentioned, very timely. So yes, I am Egyptian, Armenian, American, and also a Catholic. My family is Egyptian because of the Armenian genocide. So my great-grandparents left what is Mardin, basically, and Dikranagerd. Now these are both considered part of Turkey, but it's ancient Armenia, to Egypt, because Egypt at the time...
I will not comment on this because, unfortunately, although I know a lot about history of Azerbaijan, I don't know a lot about history of Turkey. And although, we are kind of one nation, like one people, two states, but regardless, I cannot comment on the regions or anything in Turkey. I didn't learn about it too well. My bad. I will. But Anyway, yeah, and I also won't comment anything regarding the Armenian genocide, so-called, because I'm saying so-called because Turkey doesn't recognize it, and from what I understand, a lot of countries in the world doesn't recognize it. So whatever. I mean, I personally don't care. I don't know anything about it. It was committed by a state that no longer exists. Ottoman Empire is not Turkey. You have to be like, lesser your, the fantasy. It's not the same country. It's not the same state. So let's go.
Was an open society, and Armenians could find safe haven there. And so my grandparents and my parents were born and raised in Egypt. I'm actually going to Armenia in a couple weeks, which I'm so excited about because...
Oh, so she's finally going to Armenia, probably the first time in her life. That's, the best candidate to talk about the current problems of Armenia, definitely.
I'll be the first person in my direct line to be in our ancient homeland since my great-grandparents fled before the Armenian genocide. So I'm gonna rediscover my Armenian soul when I'm there, and I cannot believe it. And my grandmother, who is really the one who transmitted Armenian faith and culture to me, will be so happy that I was able to make it to Armenia. And you mentioned, her experiences as an Armenian in Cairo. She saw the Hindenburg fly over Cairo. Friends and allies.
I don't care about this. Let's go.
So for me, Israel and Armenia, these two countries, they're actually natural friends and allies.
She says that. Several times throughout this video. I didn't watch until the end, but somewhere around here she said that like 4 times or something like that. And whether that is the truth or not, I cannot say. It's your own problem. I know about Israel and Azerbaijan relations. I know about our friendship. I cannot comment anything about Israel and Armenia. I only have one thing to say, and I will say it like further down the line again. So let's continue.
Not enemies.
Yeah, there are these two, for the most part, ethnically homogenous, ancient people in their ancestral homelands, both trying to survive and exist in a very hostile neighborhood.
No, that's dumb. You don't have to. You should not compare like Armenians in Karabakh to Israelis. To Jews in Israel for a simple reason, at least for the reason that I will have to go deep into like discussing the history, and to be honest, I'm not that ready to do that because I didn't open like documents and stuff, but I will try to find something. I think there is something here. Probably what is this? The thing is that most of the documents I can provide and show right now. If the English speakers like watch this video, they will not understand. But one thing I can show you. Here is the. No, it's not this map. It's not the correct map. I think this one is now, not this one. Where it is? Yeah, I think this one. Yes. So to begin with Karabakh, like Khanate. It was a Khanate. That means that it had a Khan. Khan is like a king, but Muslim, like a Muslim king. It was created by Panah Ali Khan. He was Iranian Azerbaijani. So he basically created the region known as Karabakh to begin with. Back when he did that, here, let's open it. Let's just open it. There he is. Yes. Panah Ali Khan, Javanshir, he's from Javanshir dynasty, Azerbaijani. Yeah, as you see, he's Azerbaijani. Yeah, Persian because he was like based in Persia, but he owned the whole territory of Armenia, Iran, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and etc. But he identified as a Turk. Yes, as you see, yeah, Panah Ali Khan was born from Sanjavi branch of the Javanshir clan, who with their associate clan of Otuziki, meaning 32 in Turkish, basically Turks, and he identified as a Turk. So he was the founder of Karabakh Khanate, he was the Khan of Karabakh, and back at that time, meaning the times that he lived, 1693 to 1759 or 1763, that doesn't matter. For a long time before that, even Turkish dynasties, Turkish states, and Turkish clans were ruling, owned basically this whole territory, including the whole territory of Armenia, most parts of Iran, and sometimes the complete territory of modern Iran, Azerbaijan, and often Georgia too. So by that time, when Javanshirs were here, and he like founded the Karabakh like clan Khanate, for 500 years before him, there were only Turkish dynasties and Turkish kings in the region, including, and you can check all this information on the internet. It is also, as you see, I just opened Wikipedia. If everything is on Wikipedia, like you can find all that I say on Wikipedia. So it was Sefivids, Kadjars, Akkoyunlu, Karakoyunlu, Atabeks, and Jamashirs, including, yes. So most of the entities that ruled this region, that owned this land for the last around 1,000 years, were Turks, and most of them are our ancestors, Azerbaijanese ancestors. Yeah, so that's that. I say most of them because Ottoman Empire, obviously, although we have connection because we're Turks, they are not direct like ancestors of ours, and because we kind of we existed in parallel, at sometimes even were at war with Ottoman Empire in history, throughout history, and also like what Genghis Khan. So Genghis Khan is also a Turk. Many may not know about that. He's also a Turk, and he's kind of one of the ancestors of one of the branches of Turkish people, like for example Kazakhs and many more. But Azerbaijanis don't directly, like we're not directly descending from him. So anyway, so yeah, Israel is very different. It's not. It's been there from what we all know, like from when it been there, and we all know this information. This is officially like existing information. However, regarding Armenians in current Armenia and in Karabakh, they are not acknowledging the factual like dates when they came there, when they stayed there, until when, and when they left. How did they live there? If there were Turkish rule, Armenia couldn't have existed, right? How would it exist as a not independent entity? And yeah, why I brought up this map, because this map is also another proof of what I say. So here is the map of so it's I think his name is Alexis Hubert Jaliot, and this map is from 1700. So as you see, it's the map of Caucasus. Here is Azerbaijan, which means Azerbaijan, basically. Here is Yerevan, which is Erwan, is Yerevan, basically. But Armenia is not here, because Armenia actually, it is here. This map is taken, it's cut, like I cut it because that's the most important part. It just didn't fit to get Armenia into those, like, sorry about that. Yeah, but anyway, what I mean is Armenia in 1700s at least were located not where it is today, and Yerevan wasn't a part of Armenia, because as you see, here is Azerbaijan where it is today, the exact like same location. Yeah, as you see, there is Baku city, Shirvan, there is Karabakh inside of Azerbaijan, Nakhichevan, everything. But Armenia is not where it is today. So yeah, they are not similar. They are not the same. Israel actually like knows when it like appeared there, right? I don't know. The problem is that I don't know very much about history of Israel too. I know about parts of history of Israel that connects us, kind of Turks, to Israel, to the Jews. But I don't know about history itself, so I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. But still, I want to say that no, Armenia and Israel is not the same. Jews and Armenians are not the same in regards of, you know, the ancient indigenous, and everyone wants to exterminate them, and etc. Yes, Israel is different, very very different. So historically, so please don't mix that up. Let's continue.
So their stories are very similar, which I'd love to have you expand upon after we talk a little bit about the conflict. So what is going on? So why is Armenia in, you know, the modern news, or maybe lack thereof, but why should Armenia be more in the news?
Yes, well, I certainly wished that Armenia were more in the news in 2023, because in September of 2023, this Armenian region called Arsakh in Armenian.
It's not Armenian region. This is a lie. This is a blatant lie. It is not Armenian. It never belonged to Armenia. It never was part of Armenia. That's it. Stop bullshitting, please. It's internationally recognized land of Azerbaijan, and it always was that way.
And also more popularly known as the Nagorno-Karabakh.
It's not popularly known, and especially not Nagorno. So if you're not Russian, don't say this word. Nagorno is a Russian word. If you consider yourself to be a Russian, then okay, never mind. If you're not Russian, don't use this word. It's not Nagorno, it's just Karabakh. There is no different for Azerbaijanis whether it is the mountainous region, Nagorno is mountainous, or not. It is anyway, it is Karabakh, part of Azerbaijan. That's it. No other way to, you know, say that.
Where 120,000 Armenians were living.
According to Armenian sources, in 2020, in 2023, and today, there was only 100,000, but okay, yeah, whatever.
And where Armenians have resided for literally centuries.
No, as I already showed you, Armenians haven't resided there for centuries, because at least in 1700, they weren't there. Yerevan, as well as Karabakh, it's inside Azerbaijan. Armenia doesn't exist, and these parts, they don't have Armenian population at all. And I will explain where it came from. It is very easy to explain, and you just have to check the official documents, internationally recognized documents, and they are like access to them is everywhere via Google. Just you will find them, you will check this out, and you will see that this is bullshit. They haven't lived there for centuries. Come on.
Since before Armenians were Christians, and Armenia is the first Christian nation to declare.
No, it definitely wasn't before Armenians were Christians. Because I want to acknowledge that at one point, before 450 AD, Armenian kings were appointed as how do I say that, ambassadors, or I don't know this word I forgot this word in English. Not my native language, not my problem. But anyway, they were appointed as servants for Roman Empire, from Parthian Empire until 450 AD, when the last king of Armenia that was there, he was not king of Armenia, he was Armenian king, literally of Armenian origin. So it was Vardan Mamikanian until 450. That's it. After that, there were Persians, during that too, there were Persians and Romans, and after that there were Persians, there were Georgians, but most of the time, as I already said and showed you, from 11th to 19th century, like these 800 years, were Turks, not anyone else. So if your territorial claims are based on the amount of time that Armenia was there, like as you said, that for centuries and etc., then Turks win everyone, because Persians were there only for 600 years, 6, maybe it's less, I think it's 4 or 5. Georgians wasn't there, didn't own this region, didn't own this territory even for 100 years during the Tamar the Great, queen of Georgia. Then Romans didn't have this region for more than 100, 150, maybe 200 years. No one, literally no one, owned this whole land, this whole territory more than Turks did. Turkish dynasties, Turkish clans and states. And I want to say one more thing. I want to add that regardless of whether Armenia was here or wasn't here, and as you see, this map shows that it didn't exist in this region, but still I want to emphasize that it doesn't really matter. Armenia is right now, it exists, it includes Yerevan, and I recognize and our country recognizes their territorial integrity. There is no, if they don't touch us, we will never touch them. Although they already touched us, but we are even now because we took Karabakh back. It's internationally recognized territory of Azerbaijan right now inside of Azerbaijani borders. That's it. We don't need anything from them. That's it. Please stop crying, Armenians. Please stop crying. We don't need anything of you. But if you come to us again, this time it will not end well. This time it will end much worse than it did in 2023. So whatever, let's continue this video.
Herself Christian, 301 AD. So
yeah, she's emphasizing this, that we're Christians. You're not the first Christians, because am I dumb? But isn't Christ the first Christian and his followers, all of them? Didn't Christianity begin in 0 AD? Isn't where we count the years from? When Christianity began? This is such a stupid argument that they are first. It's not first. You cannot be first, because before you were Christ himself. You couldn't be Christian before Christ. Yeah, and his followers. So yeah, let's continue anyway.
Spiritual significance for all Christians, being the first Christian nation. And again, it was the apostles.
Again, I'm not a professional of religious questions. I don't care. I just, put in question this information, because how can you be a Christian before Christ? Come on.
Saint Jude Thaddeus and Saint Bartholomew that evangelized Armenia, and then later Saint Gregory the Illuminator is the man who eventually led to Armenia being a Christian nation, not just making it legal for Christians, but official for Christians. That's a beautiful historical point. But Armenia itself is trying to survive. And it has always been under threat through historically.
Really? Armenia trying to survive by doing what? Armenia allied Iran, which was hostile to, we may say, everyone in the region. Armenia befriended Russia because I don't know why, but yeah, they befriended Russia. They are still, Armenia is still a country, Armenia, which is seems to be Western centric, and they want to go to European Union and everything else, but somehow it still is a part of Russian unions, like Eurasian Economic Union. Just let me show you. Yes, there it is. Eurasian Economic Union. This is Russia's like version of EU. Azerbaijan is not, by the way, part of it. So it is member states: Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Russia. Observers: Cuba, Moldova, Uzbekistan, and leaders. Nikol Pashinyan is one of the leaders of this Russian Council, Economic Union of 5 post-Soviet states located in Eurasia. Yeah, so it's basically curated, owned by Russia. This one, and probably everyone knows about CSTO, the military like organization that Russia holds, and members are also, like, one of the members is Armenia. And I want to remind you that Russia not only today occupies a large part of internationally recognized land of Ukraine. It's just invaded Ukraine, but it also, before that, there is many, like, pointers at that show that they were a part of the war between Azerbaijan and Armenia in 1990s. The KGB in particular, they used KGB in especially to, you know, start this rhetoric, this occupational, you know, tactics by Armenia. They just pushed them into this. They promised a lot, probably, and Armenia bought into that. Then they occupied like several countries. They attacked Georgia. They occupied 20% of Georgian land. They occupied 20% of Moldovan land. Transnistria is Moldova, by the way. And currently they are waging war in Ukraine, murdering civilians and etc. And somehow, like, Armenia is inside that treaty, and also in a treaty with Iran, and she says that they are trying to survive. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have, you know, befriended such people. Maybe you shouldn't have close to those from the start. Because in 1992, you know, there are a lot of like things that people accuse Azerbaijan of. Oh, it's dictatorial, it's that, it's Muslim, and etc. Like, you know what? In 1992, when Armenia invaded internationally recognized land of Azerbaijan, namely Karabakh region, which they call Artsakh, which is not the real name. It is not a recognized name by anyone. When they invaded, Azerbaijan was a democratic country. We had a democratically elected president back then, while Armenia had a Russian puppet sitting on the throne, so to speak. You know, and yeah, nothing like stopped them from doing that. You know, so no, this is a lie. Armenia never tried to just survive, because otherwise Armenia wouldn't take their neighbors' internationally recognized land. That's first. And second, not only that, they not only took this Karabakh region, they also took 7 villages around the Karabakh region and justified it that it's a buffer zone or some shit like that. This is such a hypocrisy. This is such a hypocrisy. And then you say the audacity to say that Azerbaijan is warmongers, they hate Armenians and etc. But you are barbarians. You don't recognize the international law. Like, even now, she says that it's part of Armenia. Why do you lie so bad? Like, you can just Google it. Let's just Google it. Let's just Google it. Okay. I wonder if I Google your version, like Artsakh. Let's see what they say. Yeah. Was a breakaway state on South Caucasus whose territory was internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan. Can you read this? Even your, like, name. You see? And it's the same thing. It's covering it's region in Azerbaijan. Do you understand? You behave like barbarians. You don't behave like people who want to survive. You behave like occupants, like occupiers, illegal occupiers. You behave just like Russia today in Ukraine, and that's it. I'm just, it's so, like, I'm so tired of hearing this rhetoric of Armenians that we're victims, we're being prosecuted, and this and that. Come on, bro. Like, just behave as everyone else does. Why Georgia doesn't have problem with Azerbaijan? Why every other, like, neighbor of Azerbaijan doesn't have problem with Azerbaijan? Why everyone has problem with Armenia? Can you explain to me? Why Russia have problem with you? Why Iran doesn't trust you? Why we have a problem with you? Why Turkey? After all, like, even from the strategic standpoint, just you don't understand. Like, Turkey is the biggest country in the region, like more or less in the region. It's not in South Caucasus, but it's close. You want to be friends with them. You don't want to be enemies, regardless of what happened like 100 or some 100 years ago, committed by whoever. I don't even know about that topic. Like, go discuss it. I know everything about the genocide of Jews. I know everything about it. And this is a dark time in the world's history, it's not some speculation or made up thing. There are millions of like documents and facts that prove this. Like, you can see this literally. You can see the war documents, the after the war, the eyewitnesses reports and everything. What about this, whatever, I won't go there, but still, I guess you understand what I just said. Anyway, let's continue for now.
So I wish the media, I wish Christians, I wish the West, I wish everyone had paid.
Yeah, Christians. She's emphasizing on Christians. So, let her continue, and then I will add a couple of things.
In 2023, because what happened was this little region was religiously and ethnically cleansed by September of 20.
What does it mean? What does it mean, like, religiously cleansed? What do you mean? You either like uneducated and dumb, or you're just lying, and I will not be surprised if it's the latter, because religion so Azerbaijan is officially a Muslim country. However, we are I don't remember this word. Anyway, there are a lot of religious groups in Azerbaijan, like, including, for example, there are a lot of Jews who fought in the First and Second Karabakh War. One of the heroes of Azerbaijan Republic is Albert Agarunov. Let me show you. Yeah, there he is. Posthumously national hero of Azerbaijan, was a starshina in Azerbaijan army. Agarunov died the first Nagorno-Karabakh war during the Battle of Shusha. So this person, there is also an interview with him. There is very interesting interview. I will show you. Yeah, there it is.
Danışa Bilbir'e bakıyor.
Adın nedir senin?
Albert.
They ask, what's your name? And he says, my name is Albert. What is your nationality? He said, I'm a Jew.
Yahudileri Azerbaycan toprağını korumağa
and he asked him, what like forced you to, like, is it something forcing you to protect Azerbaijani land?
Ona görə mən bu torpaqda yaşayıram.
He says, I live on this land.
Doğulmuşam burada.
I was born here. I'm living here.
Heç nə məcbur eləmir.
Nothing forced me to do this. He's a true patriot of Azerbaijan. He's Jewish, and there are a lot of people like him, unfortunately, who died in first Nagorno-Karabakh war, second Nagorno-Karabakh war, and that's not an exclusive, example of like a Jew or a Christian fighting for Azerbaijan. There are a lot of Christians, there are a lot of Ukrainians, there are a lot of Russians fighting for Azerbaijan in the first and the second Karabakh war. Don't make this about religion. No one fucking cares about religion in Azerbaijan. We have all religions. We're a secular country. We don't care. I am personally an atheist, and I'm saying this every time, everywhere. I don't care. There are people, most of my friends, not most, but there are a lot of friends of mine who are Jewish. Most of my friends are indifferent. Some of my friends are Christians. That doesn't really matter. That's bullshit. That's another Armenian narrative that your diaspora taught you to spread, because it will probably give you some support in the long term. Support for what? For what? Doing what? Occupying internationally recognized land?
2023, after 10 months of being blockaded, so being starved to death.
Yeah, again, this bullshit about being blockaded and starved to death. There were literally videos of Azerbaijanis, and not only Azerbaijanis. Also, there were Red Cross trucks that were trying to pass inside, and they didn't let them. I don't know who didn't. Maybe that was Russian peacekeepers, but anyway, that's a responsibility of Armenians, because they locked themselves inside and said that we're not coming out. We're not going to talk to Azerbaijan. We're here, we're independent, and etc. And that bullshit was over already. They should have known that with this bullshit, that's the end. No more independence, because there were never independence. Armenia didn't recognize this Artsakh. Armenia didn't recognize its independence. Armenia didn't recognize it as part of Armenia. It was just an occupied state, which they didn't have guts to annex, because if they would annex it, then the international acts would start to work. And guess what? Europe and everyone in the world, including USA, of course, would be on our side, right away. It's just because you have a huge diaspora in USA, huge diaspora in Europe, you have these narratives going, this bullshit that you put into the ears of not very educated people.
And being violently assaulted. And you can, if you're interested, you can read about what happened in 2023. But it was horrific, and the media was completely apathetic. And just as mainstream media was starting to pick up more news about what was happening in Armenia, then Hamas attacked Israel, and we were definitely not going to be paid.
Yeah, okay. To be honest, I'm getting too emotional, and I'm kind of tired of listening to that bullshit. I just want to conclude. Again, I said I don't know about if Israel and Armenia can be friends, or it's possible to support both Israel and Armenia. I'm sorry. I just want to say one thing. There was this event that happened in 2023, I think, or maybe early 24. So there is one single synagogue in Yerevan, in Armenia. In the whole Armenia, from what I know, it's only one synagogue. So this synagogue, Jewish synagogue, was burnt down 3 times in a row during 1 or 2 months. That's just information that I got from somewhere. So from somewhere, I mean, it is official. There is an official statement of Armenian something, whatever. I mean, you make your own conclusions. From what I know, there are 70 Armenians living in 70 Jews, living in Armenia, while there are thousands and thousands of Jews in Azerbaijan. I personally have friends Jews, and regarding the reason for the support of Israel and our friendship, no, you're very, very wrong. It's not only because of the military support and stuff like that, and you say that Turkey supports Hamas and how Azerbaijan cannot support Hamas. You know what? That's just my opinion, personal opinion, but I think that politics is not always saying what you think, So if someone in Turkey has said that they support Hamas, that doesn't mean that they actually do. Maybe that's just a political way of doing things, you know. And yeah, because I believe Turkey wouldn't want to spoil their relations with Israel, which began to, you know, ramp up in 2023. Before that bullshit happened with Palestine, before Palestine attacked Israel, before they committed this terror act on October 7th. Yeah, so yeah, believe it or not, I mean, that's make your own conclusions, but I can tell you definitely that Azerbaijanis, at least those that I know, and I know a lot, like most of them, they support Israel, you know, and do what you want with that information. Not because you send, like Israel sent us weapons, not because of some bullshit like that, but just because Jews are part of our community. We know Jews, we know Jewish people. We respect Jewish people, we have them in our country, we are glad and proud to have them in our country. They are the, how do I say that? They are our wealth. They are part of our wealth. That's it. That's what I think. That's what many Azerbaijanis think. I definitely do. And yeah, if some of my Jewish friends were here and saw this video, they would definitely say no. It's impossible that Israel and Armenia, you know, be supported at the same time, because that's not the same. I already described why, but I will not say that. I cannot say that. Maybe for someone it is really possible to support Israel and Armenia. You know, support whatever you want. Just don't support lies, and please don't spread lies and misinformation, because the world should know the truth. You know, if the world should know the truth about everything. Not this, you know, you have Armenian friends, like diaspora in the USA. Yeah, Azerbaijan is like virtually don't exist in USA. There are not that many of us anywhere, you know. Most of us will live in Azerbaijan. We don't go living abroad, because it's fine. We love our country, kind of. We love our, you know, our place. We don't want to go. We don't want to move. I mean, we would like to also. Some of us would like to. Some of us wouldn't like to. But most of us decided that this is their home. They don't want to leave, you know, and that's it. And it's not our problem that you're. And I'm talking right now to non-Armenians. It's not our problem that you are buying into bullshit of Armenians, and most of them live in your societies. They have their diasporas, and you know, there's just shit in your ears. I'm sorry for these words, but yeah, that's what's happening. That's what's happening literally in this video. So anyway, I won't continue. I just don't want to. It's kind of, you know, I just dislike doing this, really. I feel like dirty looking at this, listening to this. The only thing I can recommend to this person and the Philos Project, please first research the truth, research the real history, and then you talk and criticize someone, you know. And on the other hand, if you want to support your personal friends from Armenia or wherever, make your own, you know, personal channel with your name. Go drink some beers and discuss whatever you want. You know, it's no place for like this. This looks like a pure political propaganda. And fuck that.